Yo, what's poppin', guys? As you all know, one of the main issues with combo decks is the existence of Maxx in this format. So in this video, I'll be showing you guys 4 games where we played through Maxx and still clutch out the win, even against some meta decks. Alright, so now we're going to be showing off a few replays into Maxx. We're going to be leading with the Wakaushi here, and that's where we get roached. So we're going to go ahead and search for our Soul Piercer here. Scale the Zefra. Revolution is going to search for a Dark Worm. This is big because we want something to chain block our search for our counter trap here. I'm going to go ahead and just add the Gate Magician here and go straight for the Divine Strike to not get punished by an Ash Blossom or something. And I will go for IP, Baguska, and a body. Now, we could have linked this off to get some advantage here because the Zefraxiton is already our Zefra target that we need here. But I opted to go for it like this. We'll just link this off to make an SP here. So they're going to imperm Baguska. Now, Baguska is our way of surviving, right? They have 9 cards. So we just want the Baguska to carry us to the next turn where we can start playing again. So of course we're going to use the counter trap to protect it here. And it doesn't matter because they just have Subversion to send it back anyways. So it's basically SP and a Dream. And I mean, they're playing Snake Eyes Fire King, right? So we seem pretty screwed. And the whole process of thought I'm going through here is, when do we SP? So there's a few different things we could do. We could SP the Fire King Island to blow up their whole field. But we saw that they added the Garunics somewhere around here. Off the Fire King Island, they have Garunics. So if a monster that was originally fire is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon this guy. Then you pop a guy from your deck. And then you gain like attack. And then the guy that gets popped from the deck gets a trigger and do stuff. It's like Kieran or whatever. So I don't really want to pop if there's like fires on the field. So I'm just going to see if there's anything that's like threatening me here. So he makes Linkaribo, so I'm thinking, okay, maybe he goes for a line with Dark, right? We have Wakaushi in grave, we have the Dark Worm in grave. So if he goes and makes Dark, I might as well just like let him summon or whatever, right? And then we just Fire King Island and blow him up, right? And now he goes for Oak. So now I'm shifting over here. Okay, maybe that's not it. So here the consideration is, do I let him go into Princess? Do I see if he still wants to go for a line of Dark? No matter what, he gets the trigger Garunics here. So here I'm thinking, okay, maybe he goes for a Flamberge or something here. And then when Flamberge is going to target something, that's when I go into the SP and just hit the Flamberge itself, right? Because that stops it from floating. That stops a lot of like pressure that he has and everything. And he doesn't get to like trigger the Garunics and stuff as if I were to pop the Fire King Island. So we're just going to set the wanted follow-up here because he's already spent, whatchamacallit, the OSS. And he threatens Battle Phase here to run over the IP. So we have to go for SP here, pop Fire King Island. This also keeps him off of the Flamberge. So that's pretty fine. It loses a lot of bodies. And I'm intentionally chain blocking it this way around, right? There's nothing he can use to like negate my Little Knight right now, but I want to see if I can bait out a disruption. We have a Trap Engrave, so another Wakaushi is dead anyways. We have Clogged Scales, so it's dead anyways. It's just a free body I could use on the Crackback, but I would prefer to resolve like more important effects on my turn. So this is basically kind of just trying to hand grip him. I don't know why you would call by this, but hey, I mean, I'm super down, right? So here we out this blows up his entire field. Boom, there we go. And now the Garunics triggers. It's going to pop an Volcanics here. And I think it's a misplay that he goes for this. I think he should just swung over the SP here. I was kind of gambling on him going for this. There was definitely an argument to be made to just hit the, which is it, this one, right? To just hit the Garunics when he like pops it or something. But he decides to go for this, which is definitely a misplay. When this card exceeds him and you pop all other monsters in the field, so I'm just going to chain SP, protect myself. And you can detach a material to like out back rows and stuff. And if it gets destroyed, then he also gets to reborn a bunch of Fire Kings. So by doing this, I SP, and he's not on the field, so he can't use a second effect. And then when he comes back, he has no materials, so it doesn't matter at all. And now he Maxx sees me during end phase for serve. I don't know. Maybe he wanted, like, he thought this comes back by special summoning it. I don't know. Also, Wings Light is apparently a main phase only effect. I should have definitely used that. That was my bad. Oops. Because I could search for it for free here anyways. So I get kind of punished. Yeah, but our opponent wants to surrender. Another important thing, you put the SP back under an extra monster zone, so you can pen summon from your extra deck to the extra monster zone and the 2 zones left and right of the SP. You also put it in like the middle zone or something. Just put it somewhere where it has 2 open spaces and the EMZ is also open. All right, another game, another Roach. This game we're going to lead with the Revolution. The reasoning is if they have an Ash Blossom and they just use it on the Revolution, then we get to resolve the bike, go for Wakaushi, do the whole line, get a ton of advantage, and the Link will just discard the second dead copy of the motorbike. But if we lead with bike and they ash it, then this card is dead because it gets ashed. This card is dead because it's a hard once per turn. It does absolutely nothing for me at all, and then I have to play with just 3 cards in hand. So that's why you lead with the Revolution, but it just doesn't matter because you get Maxx, right? All these cockroaches coming out from behind the cupboards. And we're going to go for the Light Worm. This is a missequence. I should have definitely led with a normal summon Dark Worm because this is my access to a low scale. As you can see, these guys are all high scales. And if they have an Imperm for the Dark Worm, then we can use the Motorbike to get a Benkei for the low scale. Now, fortunately, they don't, right? So we're going to grab the Gate Magician, pop itself to fill up the extra deck so we can pen summon out an additional body here. Now we're going to go ahead and search for our counter trap. We're going to chain block this. And we're going to level modulate up here. Now, it's important that we get a Zefra name into the extra deck. So we're going to have to definitely link off the Zefranu, and we have to link off whatever's in the EMZ, right? So we, again, don't get to link off this guy here, but we have enough bodies on the field, and we'll just link this off when we go into SP. So our opponent here is playing Unchained, which plays fairly well through Baguska. So we're going to have to use both of our disruptions to protect the Baguska here. Yama's going to go off here, add some stuff to hand. And here they set Wailing of the Unchained. If you link summon an Unchained Link monster, you can target 1 card in the field and destroy it. So this is going to be the out to Baguska. We're going to have to SP it when he flips it face up. See if we can get him like commit other stuff. If he does some really dumb stuff beforehand, I guess we just like Divine Strike, right? But we definitely want to SP this, but we want him to extend into thinking it's going to resolve for as long as possible instead of just hitting when it's face down, right? And he adds an Unchained Soul. So what this card does, if you haven't read it yet, if a card you control is destroyed by a battle or card effect, you can special summon this from your hand. And then when it's special summoned, you pitch a card and destroy a card in the field, non-targeting. All right, so Baguska is going to turn this to defense. He flips his face up, and we're going to chain the IP with the quickness. Toggle is on. And here again, there's nothing they can do to negate the Little Knight. So there's no point in putting on Chain Link 1. This would be very good if they had something like the Phantom of Yubel. Then we can chain block the Little Knight to get it to resolve, which is nuts. But we're just going to chain link to the Soul Piercer here to see if we can like bait out an Ash or something. Which we do, which is great. Like Wakaushi isn't live because I have clogged scales, right? And he knows I have a counter trap, which would also just turn it off. I don't know. Like it's just a guy. So maybe he doesn't see any other Ash targets. I would have still held it probably. And now because he ashes, we get to actually chain SP Little Knight. And that not only protects me from just getting run over by the Yama, it also removes the Yama, which gives me massive advantage here because the Yama has an effect in the graveyard, which it can't use because it is now banished. And he can't link climb anymore. So that's really nice. All right, so when we use the Oracle, I'm thinking, oh, he's gonna hit this to stop my search, but he targets the Yama and the SP here. So now if we have to chain the SP, right? Because he's gonna destroy it, which means we lose out on a pen zone, which kind of sucks, but we get so much more value off of this. Because first of all, he doesn't get to destroy a card he controls, so the Abominable Unchained doesn't trigger in hand. Second of all, this thing has an effect in the graveyard. If a card he controls is a red battle card effect while his card is in your graveyard, you can banish it and then special summon a fiend from your hand or graveyard. And then he also pops another card he controls to get even more floating and stuff. So we're completely just keeping this away. That's really, really good for us here. We're gonna go ahead and search for Zefra here, so we can pen that one out. Just get us some more advantage here. I'm just going to go ahead, pendulum summon all of these guys. And my plan here is we know he has the Unchained Soul. So if I attack into the Sarama or destroy it, it is going to float. And the Unchained Soul is going to summon itself out and pop one of my guys. So I need to set up at least 2 negates. We have 1 negate here. Remember, we're keeping 1 Zefra in the extra deck here at all times to keep our counter trap live. We're going to go for a line to get into the Absolute Dragon here. Go for the Electromite. So just add the Astrograph, pop this guy. Special out the Astrograph. Unfortunately, we don't get another add, but the Exceed the Pendulum here gets back our tuner. We just grab another dude to normal summon here, because we haven't spent that yet. Or just special from our hand. Then I realized, oh hey, we have a guy in the graveyard. So we just bring him out, normal summon this guy here. Now we go for the Boral Savage. I'm just going to equip a Dark here. Now the reason I don't go for the access code first, and then do it, and then have 3 negates on this, is because this keeps more attributes. Just in case I need to pop a whole bunch of guys. So we're going to pop this, and this is where OCG hand triggers come up and completely screw this guy over, because this is a different ruling in the TCG. So if you're a TCG player, this is different in Master Duel, where the hand triggers have a lower priority to respond on the chain. So because they're private knowledge, the way this works is he goes channeling 1 Sarama, right? Because it got destroyed. Now I have a chance to use my public disruptions on this, or just any disruptions, I guess, right? And then he gets to chain the Abominable Soul in his hand. And then I get to chain this again, right? So we can't chain block. In the TCG, you can chain block the Sarama with the Abominable Unchained Soul to guarantee your guy comes back out. And then just pop them with access code, it doesn't matter, right? Now here the consideration is I have 1 destructive negate and 1 non-destructive negate. And this guy has an effect when he gets destroyed, but it's only in the end phase. And the effect here to like attempt to special summon himself is actually not a once per turn. You can only special summon it once per turn, but you can attempt to use the effect to special summon it multiple times. So this is why we just chain the negates this way around. Just pop this guy, get rid of him. And we swing for game here. Once again, we are not safe from the cockroach. The maximum C comes. Of course, we're going to lead with the Wakaushi here, because it'll be turned off if we lead with anything else. They use Maxx C. Get a free draw here already. We're going to go ahead and grab the Soul Piercer. Providence is going to search our high scale for us, and then the Wings of Light gets the Dark Worm. It's also important because the Dark Worm gets to chain block our search for our counter trap here. Go ahead and grab the Gate Magician and the Divine Strike. Now IP is going to link off our Soul Piercer here for our normal summon, because we're going to make Baguska with these 2, and then we need a normal summon to make the SP. And we're grabbing Motorbike here because this card is now dead. This does nothing. I don't want to draw this because I have 2 spells in graveyard. I can't activate the effect. So we're just going to get this out of the deck, and we're going to use this for our normal summon. All right, go ahead and set our counter trap. And I'm just going to hope this is enough here. As a Kashtira card, there's some Horus cards and stuff. They have a shuffler in the graveyard here. Kind of have to be careful of that. This card, the Flambers here, and here I'm like, uh-oh, well, what's going on here? Waste Poplar, awkward. And they're going to go into Link Karibo here. Now, I am going to activate my IP here to banish a Link Karibo, because this could make SP, which then threatens my Baguska, and I prefer to keep my Omni Negate for whatever other push they have to threaten this. Go ahead, remove the monster from the extra deck. Remember, the SP only gets that free banish if it was used with the monster summon from the extra deck as material. And they're going to chain droplets to this. So they send 2 monsters, so it's kind of a good thing we have the Divine Strike, right? Just going to go ahead and negate that, clear everything here. And now, of course, get the Horus card back, Bonfire for the Ash. They don't have a normal summon though, but they're just going to pitch this for an Oak, which also does nothing. Not sure why they would even try to use it here. And at this point, they're going to activate Birth, and that would bring back a dude, another body here. They'd have 3 bodies on the field. They could easily go for something like a Princess, be over the SP, or like Link climb again into something. They could, yeah, do some potentially dangerous stuff. So I'm going to chain the SP here. It's going to just protect the SP and keep him off of bodies for like Link climbing. This guy, of course, doesn't do anything because he is under Baguska. All right, and now our Dragon Shrine is dead because they will use Birth on resolution and just banish my target, right? So we're going to lead with the Zefra. They don't know we have Dragon Shrine. We're going to lead with the Zefra to bait this out. Now, the correct targets here are Darkworm, because it like come back and do stuff, the Providence because it gives me protection, and then like the other thing doesn't really matter, right? Like maybe I can revive the Soul Piercer, maybe I'm running Elf or something, doesn't really matter, right? So they hit the Darkworm, but they leave the Providence, which is a misplay. And now we're gonna go for SP, and we're going to try to blow up the whole board here. I'm gonna chain all this stuff here. Probably could have chain blocked this, honestly, but if they use the Ash, they're on like nothing. Okay, so they're going to Imperm here. And I'm going to chain SP. Alright, it's gonna remove the Oak. These guys are all getting popped, right? So the Horus can't like get the effect here to like send a guy. And I don't want him to Imperm this, because I don't want the Unicorn here to rip the Electromite from my extra deck. Because then I can't go through Electromite and it makes my game a lot harder. Now, I think this is a misplay here, where I use the SP, because if I remove the Thuban, I don't have the materials to make Electromite. I also don't have my normal summon, right? Like, I'm not going to make Electromite anyways. Now, the correct line here was I let him negate this. The Unicorn banishes my Electromite, and then we're just going to search Oracle off of this, use Beyond plus this for the Exceed the Pendulum, just add back the Zefra, we don't really care. Then we're going to Reborn the Wakaushi from the graveyard. Shrine can send Destrudo. That'll come back. We'll use Destrudo plus the Exceed the Pendulum that we made to make an Access Code Talker. And then we'll have our Zefra Thuban here, plus the Wakaushi that we revived to make the Boral Savage for the negate. So we're going to attach Beyond the Pendulum right here, right? Very important, because we want to Exceed the Pendulum as an attribute to banish. So we're going to pop the remaining 2 monsters here, which are the Oak and the Unicorn, by banishing the Exceed from the graveyard and the SP from the field for our 2 attributes. And then we have Access Code Talker plus Boral Savage for game, and we win on the spot. I don't see this line. You should do that though if you're playing this situation. So it gets kind of wonky from here. I'm going to go for the Exceed anyways here. I'm like, oh, what do I do? Maybe find an access code line. Here, I only have one more target left. It's a Zefra, and that would turn off my Zefra and scale, which I kind of don't want. So that's why I'm just adding another Zefra. I'm like, maybe I'll pitch it or something, right? It's not that good. We opt to go for the AFD here. We're just putting anything on top of a deck. It doesn't matter. We're searching for Necro Valley here, so deck gets shuffled anyways. I'm going to swing a bit here, see if anything happens. And we're going to go for access code and just clear the board. So we'll stop all this stuff from coming back. To be fair, none of this stuff comes back anyways, because the Horus and the Kashtira are both in the graveyard, and we just slapped Necro Valley, right? It's not going to happen. The Oak comes back, and they're going to send it here for the Diabell Star. And this is where we're going to use the SP to remove a face-up target for the OSS. So they're going to have some card they get to commit face-up here. And we get punished because they have this. Kind of sad. Yeah. So now they're going to use OSS. I'm about to cry. And then it turns out they don't have any targets except the Birch. So we still win. But we should have won last turn anyways. Alright, for our final game, we're going to lead with the Dark Worm here and eat the Maxx instead of the Imperm like I was hoping to. So because we don't have a way to get to Baguska without summoning a bajillion times, we're just going to activate Necro Valley and pray a bit. We're playing against Yubel, which doesn't really care about Necro Valley. The Unchained lines kind of get hurt, but as you can see here, they're just going to go ahead and summon the Phantom of Yubel anyways, even though it removes a card from the graveyard. And I think the ruling is kind of awkward for that, kind of unintuitive, because this does stop things like the Horus cards, which are also like inherent summons and not effects, is what you would think, right? Because you can't like respond to them. But the way this works, the way the ruling works, is Phantom of Yubel is what you could call like a special summon monster, or the way to properly summon it is by fulfilling this, like shuffling the cards back from the graveyard or whatever, right? You can compare this to something like a synchro monster that has to be synchro summoned to synchro, like to summon it in the first place, right? Or a ritual monster has to be ritual summoned to summon it in the first place. Phantom of Yubel has to shuffle the cards back to summon it in the first place. Something like a Horus card would get stopped because even though it's an inherent summon, it's actually its effect to inherently summon it from the graveyard. So this is similar to things like Cyber Dragon or the Kashtira monsters, where you can inherently summon them through their effects without having to activate the effect, but it's still the effect because the like the intended way to summon them or whatever is to just tribute summon them. And cards like Rituals and the Phantom of Yubel don't have that option. So here my opponent pitches a Sharvara. He's not an idiot who doesn't read Necro Valley. It's actually to set up the Escape of the Unchained here. So I don't take battle damage from this because he doesn't have the continuous spell here. And he goes into Rage and just goes ahead and makes another Phantom. Alright, so we have a few disruptions to play through. One very nifty thing here. First of all, we're going to add the Zefra to hand, of course, because we have a bunch of 7s. Now, the great thing here is we get a free zone to pen summon to from the extra deck. Let's go, baby. We take those, right? For free. And we're going to chain block with the Dark Worm here. So the reasoning for this is Dark Worm would just add me another Gate Magician, right? But I already have 3 7s on the field. So if he uses his negate on this, and then he rages for like the Destrudo maybe, and then he uses his pop on this guy, like I still have a bunch of plays, right? I think if he yeah, if he hits Destrudo plus anything, I guess if he hits like 2 pens, I guess if he hits the Gate Magician and another Gate Magician, I'm kind of hurt, but it's, I could probably just still play, right? I definitely think you shouldn't be raging the Destrudo, because I'm literally resolving a chain where I could just out my own Necro Valley and just get the Destrudo back. I think that's kind of awkward. But he's gonna go ahead here and SP the Necro Valley by himself. So my Destrudo was live anyways. So I think that's like super awkward at this point. Now he has the Yubel here, and he flips Eternal Favorite. I want Battle Phase to clear the SP because I don't want to like deal with the Banish and stuff, right? I think I just out-resource him. He has this one unknown. We know he has the pop here, but no Unchained cards on the field, so it's kind of dead. And then he has like one thing in his hand. But he does have the Yama, which comes back off any pop. So there's a lot of stuff to like manage here. And I wasn't sure how I wanted to go about this. And then he flips the guy that super polys my entire field because he controls Yubel, and he just pitches a card, and I'm like, oh, well, I've lost the game now. And then he uses the other effect. You can... Yeah, you can only use what like once per turn. So he loses out on the super poly the whole board, which I think is like a giga mistake, right? Like unless he's not playing the Loving Defender. For some reason, I don't know. Yeah, so we're just gonna use the Wings of Light for another Dark Worm here. Go into Electromite. Astrograph here. Now we get the Destrudo here for the Clearwing Synchro Dragon, because we didn't actually summon... Where's the guy at? Here we go. The Gate Magician with its own effect. So we never sent this. This is why we're running the Clearwing Synchro Dragon instead of like some other random target to send, because we can actually make this with the Destrudo. And this gives us potentially 2 negates when a level 5 or higher monster activates its effect on the field. So whenever you fight into like the Yubel or something, or even the Loving Defender, I can just negate it with this. So I think this is very, very nice. And then when an effect is targeted, is activated that targets a level 5 or higher on the field, so like the Clearing Synchro Dragon here, or my Vortex, I get to negate it, so that's also very nice. And we're of course going to banish the Super Poly with the quickness. I'm thinking maybe he doesn't run Ultimate Defender, but there's no way I'm going to stick around to find out. And we're just going to go ahead and wipe his entire board here. I'm gonna go ahead and negate this, keep him off of the advantage here. Easy, set the counter trap. We have like up to 4 negates. And he leaves with a Throne, which is 100% getting negated. And here's where I grief the game, right? So I could just shuffle back any of these dudes from the extra deck, right? And we just super chill. And I shuffle back to Zefra, which is really dumb because now my Divine Strike is offline. I get super polyed, which eats all of my disruptions now because I accidentally turned off my counter trap. And he's going to crash this and hope for some draw that saves him here. And I would 100% negate this with Divine Strike. I don't want him to draw here, right? But I can't. And fortunately, he just doesn't draw anything, and I have exact game on board. So it's a GG's. Never punished yet again.